Welcome back. If you want to ask questions about spinal cord injury, the number to call is 0808 054 2233. That's 0808 054 2233. You can also tweet at CTV_Mary A while the program goes on. Now, I want to ask, obviously there will be other disciplines involved in a spinal cord injury.
Exactly.
For example, there would definitely have to be a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Definitely have to be rehabilitation, what they call it, occupational therapist.
Occupational therapist,
something called a physiatrist.
Yes.
I've never heard that before, whatever, you know. But I know that one of your concerns is that you are not very satisfied with the level of understanding of other professionals. The question I want to ask is, what would you tell them about your patient, how to handle your patient, if they have to pass through these other people?
Now, well, for instance, in maybe in a place like the orthopedic hospital, Igbobi, where most of the staff there are well trained, they know about it, about management of spinal cord injury, even right from the A&E. But possibly at the other peripheral hospitals, some of this knowledge might be lacking.
So what exactly would you like to tell them? What's your headache? What's the thorn in your flesh about how they might be treating some of these people?
Yeah, so one of the essential things is the immobilization.
Okay.
Particularly until you confirm that indeed this patient, the severity of the injury, the spine must be adequately immobilized, the neck with an appropriate collar. The patient should be nursed on the flat surface. And then also the other thing is, anytime the patient is to be moved, patient should be moved in one piece.
Okay.
Then also secondly, taking care of the pressure points. Because sometimes, of course, a good number, not every patient will come to a tertiary hospital following a road crash. So they are first seen in a peripheral hospital where they may receive some care 24, 48 hours.
And that could spoil the job for you.
Yes, it could.
Let me quickly take this call from Toyin. Hello, Toyin.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Toyin. What's your question?
Yeah, I learned about a certain kind of orbit melting. Is there any cause one could have caused on the part of the spinal cord, a orbit?
Orbit melting.
Yes, is there anything like that, or does anything causes that?
Okay, so I'll let the doctors answer. No. Orbit melts.
Maybe I'm not getting him.
Or maybe
very
he's
well.
not saying it well.
Maybe.
You want to check that and get back to us, because it doesn't seem to be making much sense here.
No.
All right, so let's continue. How are we doing by way of assistive technology? What can you say about how we are now in Nigeria, our level?
Well, I think I wouldn't say we have been very successful and that we've been able to avert the sequelae of spinal injury for most people who suffer. And that is because I think the health system is in a very dire state. You, for example, mentioned educating other health workers. You know, it's not just what we can do on a program like this. It's something that is continuous, you know, training that will have to be sponsored within and outside the country, and facilities provided. Yes, and enlightenment. More and more enlightenment campaigns.
I saw on the internet, for example, somebody operating a wheelchair and going up the stairs, and then another person operating a computer, you know, with his eyes. But let's take Michael's call first. Hello, Michael.
Hello, ma.
Hello. What's your question?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma. I have been listening to your program since, but there is one thing that I want to tell you, ma. Please help us tell them we are not all educated. If they can be doing this program in Yoruba or Pidgin English, in order to be able for we that know have a more education to understand.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. That's for us, really, not the doctors, I'm sure. Thank you so much for your contribution. So we were talking about assistive technology,
Exactly.
somebody operating a wheelchair up the stairs, and somebody operating a computer just with eye movement. What do we have now that we can call our own for, people who need these things?
Well, in that aspect, we are still lagging behind to a great extent. Even the motorized wheelchairs, only a few, because they are quite expensive, only a few are able to procure it, and usually that's to be imported anyway. I mean, so the care, basically, which is the reason why...
Can't we make these things here?
Wow. As of this
it's
time...
It's a chair?
Yeah.
Well,
let's quickly take Paul's call while you think about that.
Okay.
Hello, Paul.
Yes, hello, ma'am. I've been following your program.
And what's your question or contribution?
Okay. I have a friend who has been diagnosed. Are you following me?
Yes. I am. Indeed, we are.
Okay, so I have a friend who has been diagnosed of an injury on his spinal cord.
Okay.
And the doctor said he cannot take any operation. He cannot be operated upon. He can only manage the problem, the injury, by doing frequent exercises, going to the gym, taking a walk, using dumbbells and all of that. So I wanted to know if it is the inefficiency of the hospital or the doctor, or we don't have the facilities in Nigeria that can solve that kind of problem, or maybe, of course, maybe we need to move him out of the country to find a better doctor who can solve the problem.
Thank you so much, Paul.
If you can kindly answer the question for me.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Do you have conditions like this? I read somewhere, before you continue, before you answer, about someone who was told that he had a compression, but they couldn't operate. Why would such a thing happen?
Well, it will depend. First and foremost, I don't have knowledge of this patient. We've not evaluated him ourselves to know exactly what the situation is. But there are also other conditions that could compress the spinal cord. If he has a tumor, for example,
okay,
that has spread from a primary elsewhere, and it's inoperable.
An inoperable tumor?
Yes.
But then they wouldn't be telling him that he should do exercise for that, would they?
Well, if you have a tumor, it gets to a stage that all you aim for is what we call palliation. You're just trying to improve the patient's quality of life. That patient, so to speak, is just waiting for the day.
Yeah. Now, if I may add, because usually for spinal, I don't know the details about this patient, but if a patient has sustained spinal cord injury, yes, we may operate and fix, but then that does not guarantee neurologic recovery.
Okay.
So
so what does it guarantee? Why the operation?
No, the operation is to create room for possible recovery.
Possible recovery.
Because once you don't decompress the cord, then there's no room, no chance for recovery. But when you decompress, there is a chance of recovery.
And the person might get better.
Exactly.
We're having a phone call. Hello.
Hello?
Okay. Bade, we can hear you.
Okay, yes. I'd like to speak to the doctor.
Please, by all means.
I have a dad. He's 76. Apparently, he had a fall some time back, but he didn't report the fall. But we later discovered that he had some issues with his ability to walk.
Okay.
So by the time we went on scan and various scans, we found a shift in the spinal cord line. But we were later found advised, because at first the doctor we saw said that he wanted to check if there's a kind of a cancerous movement on that, a cancerous effect on that bone that shifted. But when we did the CT scan, everything was perfect. He cannot walk currently now. All right, we've tried to do physiotherapy. They said because of his age, he cannot go for an operation. So we've tried to do physiotherapy all along for the past 1 year plus now, but no good improvement.
Okay.
Is there anything?
Thank you, Bade. We have to quickly answer this if we're going to get anywhere. So can any of you take that?
Well, I think you should come for evaluation.
Okay.
Yes, he could have surgery. And I think people should be aware that there's capacity actually.
Okay, so let's quickly answer
intervene.
Hemi's question. He says, can this affect the cardiac sphincter and pyloric sphincters?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
No?
It's not a major.
No.
All right. I think that's all we can take now. Thank you so much for coming. Dr. Tulushe, Dr. Choji, it was wonderful having you on the program. And thank you for joining us for this program. Look forward to see you next time. Have a great day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.